Yeah, g'day YouTubers. Tinker O'Toole again here with another chainsaw filing video. This time we're going to talk about a filing aid that you may not be aware of. Some people will, maybe some people won't. To help you file correctly and stay at the right angle, I've got two things to show you. And one is a file holder. This is by Stihl. This one's for a 3/8 chain. Use a 5.2mm file. And you'll notice that there's a 30-degree mark on that. So what you're meant to do is this 30-degree mark that's on here. There it is there, you can see that. You place that parallel with your bar. Line it up. And that's 30 degrees. Then it's just a matter of holding the file against the tooth, sitting the file holder on the top of the tooth and the raker, right? So make sure you're lined up, you're parallel, and proceed to file. Putting a little bit of pressure on the tooth coming back. Not much, just a little bit. They're very easy to use, and they give great accurate results. And they're great to use when you're not very good at filing and you want to improve. A lot of people keep them in their kit, and what they do, maybe after a couple of filings with a hand file, they put on the file guide on the next sharpening that they do, and that will bring it back to the 30 degrees. So it's just a matter, I'm used to using these, so with my eyes, I'm checking that line. You actually do get used to using it. This chain was sharpened, so I'm really just running this over for demonstration purposes, and I'm back to my red mark here. Okay, let's just say that you still find that a little bit difficult to use, right? Okay, we'll make it even easier. This cradle is made by Stihl, and it's a file holder cradle. And we'll demonstrate that. You'll notice it's got two slots in that side, two slots in that side. One's for left and right tooth. So the whole idea is that you place it over the tooth, and you've now got 30 degrees. So if we come back here and look on top, that's our 30 degrees. So guess what you're meant to do with this? We'll just go up a little bit higher on the camera so that you can see what's going on. So what you're meant to do with this moves a little bit like that. So you're just meant to put the file in and push it over. Like that. It's foolproof. So you can use that. Only one thing that I would say to people, and I've made this mistake, and if I've made it and you're a beginner, I'm sure that everyone makes this mistake. You'll notice that I've got red texture on both sides. The reason that I've got red texture on, so I'm standing behind here, and with my eyes, we'll see whether you can see that, we'll zoom in. I'm trying to make sure that this is level with the red line, and I'm not tilting up or I'm not tilting down. Now you may think, oh no, you won't do that, you wouldn't tilt down. Have a look at that. I was tilting down. I was having the file sitting on here on an angle like that without even realising it. So in actual fact, I was giving it 10 degrees downward tilt. But it doesn't work very good if you tilt it. It really doesn't. So you must make sure that when you place it on here, and this is why I like to stand behind it now, So I like to stand behind here and focus my eyes on this unit and make sure that it's straight. So as I'm filing, I'm keeping it straight. At all times, I'm keeping it straight, not tilting down or tilting that way. You'll tend to tilt it that way. Be aware of that, and that goes for the same as a normal file. If you're just using a normal file, try and make sure that you have got it horizontal and you're not tilting it. So, do these things really help? Well, I guess the answer is yes, they do. But when you've been sharpening chainsaws with files for many, many years, you do get better at it and you find out that you don't need these little gadgets. But I would highly recommend using one of these. If you're going to be a person who files, the only reason I recommend using this is because it'll always bring you back in check. You can get the magnetic from Stihl. They sell a little plastic magnetic piece of plastic that's got 25 degrees on one side, 30 degrees on the other. You place it on there and you can see these lines going this way and that way. They're to make it easy for you to hold the file, so when you're filing, you can look down and see that the file is lined up with the lines. They're only about $13, $14, so they're not a bad little tool either. Look, they're aids to improve your filing, and when you get really good, you can just freehand file with the file, and every now and then you can use one of these aids to bring back in check. Now, another thing is, and I've heard people ask this question, and I used to ask this question, how long does a file last for? Well, I believe that they don't last that good. Someone was sprouting off, that they last 5,000 strokes. Well, personally, I believe they're lucky if they last 1,000 strokes. When I use a file, I want the file to really start filing off particles off the tooth. If you've got a blunt file, it'll just skate straight over the tooth. So when it gets like that, I'll throw it in the rubbish. But let's just say that it lasts me 1,000 strokes. I'll probably get about 5 chains out of it. If I buy the files in a pack of 12, the Veloed, the Swiss files, if I get 5 sharpening 5 chains out of that, then I still think that's a low cost, because I'm getting a file. I buy a packet of 12 for about 36 Australian dollars, so that works out about $3 for a file. So $3 for a file. If I can do 4 or 5 chains, I'm happy with that. But I don't like using a file when it's totally worn out and it's just skating over the top, because I've probably got to do, instead of doing 3, 4 passes with a new file, I'll probably do 7 or 8 with this old worn out file. And I just think, throw it in the rubbish and get another one. Anyway, so I hope that information helps. There are other roller guides from Husqvarna, but they're a little bit different than this type. This isn't a roller guide. This is just a guide that goes over the top of the tooth. The only thing that I will say about it, just be careful. It should fit most bars, whether they're Husqvarna, Oregon, or whatever. Because this is a 3/8 chain, and they're chain specific. So remember that you can't use this on different chains. I've only got 3 of them. I've got 3/8 low profile, standard 3/8, and 404. I don't have one for 0.325. I don't use them enough to warrant to go out and buy a whole set of them. But that said, I do have a whole set of these. And these go down for 1/4 inch, 3/8 low profile, 0.325, standard 3/8, and 404. Okay, so as you saw, it was pretty easy to use both these aids. Personally, I don't think you need this, unless you're actually really not very good at filing, but you do have the 30-degree mark on there. And that's just a matter of holding that, as you saw, parallel with the bar. That's pretty easy to do. It's not that difficult. And the best thing about one of these is that the file, because of the indentation that's in the metal here, is kept at the right height above the tooth. So it'll always file at the right height. Whereas when you freehand file, it's easy to make a mistake. And let's just say you've got a brand new chain and you sharpened it 2 or 3 times. It's a great idea that if you use that on the 4th sharpening, just to make sure that it's in check. You might find out some people are excellent sharpeners. They are really good at it. And we have the opposite where people are absolutely hopeless at it. If you're one of those persons that's somewhere in between, you may want to get yourself one of these. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.